From the book, Becoming Supernatural. Let's go into some real-world examples of the book. What is the function of immunoglobulin A, or IgA? So immunoglobulin, as the principal antibody class, what does it do? It acts as an important first line of defense, mandating a variety of protection functions through interactions with specific receptors, immune mediators. Basically, all it's saying is that the main purpose of the immunoglobulin A is the first line of defense, and it's actually by far the strongest.
The strongest there is!
So if a disease is trying to come into your body, this is going to be what protects it, first line. What causes an IgA deficiency? It's one of the biggest reasons is actually cortisol. So cortisol levels rise during stress, and thus cortisol is sometimes found to be associated with negative effects, such as depression or high stress levels. Basically, what it's saying is that cortisol will increase your stress, and that's going to reduce your IgA levels.
So Josh, to recap, immunoglobulin is your first line of defense of staying healthy. And if that's compromised, mainly by higher stress levels, which would lead to higher cortisol levels, you've got a problem. And I think what you're trying to say is that the function of the mind, or how well the mind feels, or how stressed or not stressed someone has a much more direct impact on the underlying physiology of the person. That is, it changes, like it literally will change the blood chemistry of the person based upon what the mind is thinking, feeling, and perceiving, correct?
Correct. So what happened in the book? Well, the author, he basically took a bunch of people onto a retreat, and he tested their IgA levels as well as their cortisol. And after 4 days of a certain procedure, which we will get into in 1 second, the end study after the 4 days is the IgA levels were up 49.5%. That is astounding, because if you look, there's not a single way, no medicine can increase your IgA levels. It is not possible. Along with what happened is...
Well, Josh, hold on, just pause for 1 second. So what you're really saying is that after 4 days of like no stress, the person's like natural immune system, or the first line of defense to protect that person, was up basically double, like 50%, right? That's what you said, like 50%. Gotcha.
As well as their cortisol levels were down 16.25%. Basically, their stress went completely away. So they must be doing some magical bioengineering during this retreat, right? In this 4 days. No, all he had them do was they had to do this 3 times a day for 10 minutes. They basically just had to meditate, and in that meditation, they had to think of like their dream life and something where they would be extremely happy. So they were filling their mind and their body with extreme euphoric feelings. During that time, your cortisol dropped significantly because your stress is evaporating, because your mind can't compartmentalize the difference between if you are thinking about something and you're making it feel real and something actually being real. So without having any difference in your external life, your first line defense got 50% healthier, which is out of this world.
Gotcha. So basically what I hear you saying is this, is that the mind, what you're saying is the mind is manifesting the reality that it believes. And because it's the reality of the mind, it could be a reality in perception. So it goes both ways. If you're very negative, if you're very stressed out or whatever, right, you're going to see these negative ramifications manifested in your body, mainly through, let's say, the more compromised immune system. Likewise, if you're not feeling stressed, you're feeling good. If you're visualizing what you want to have happen, if you're visualizing good things, you get the opposite. But either way, the mind will lead the body, is what I hear you saying.
Yeah, if you want to get into some more conspiratorial effects, I would say people very high up would know exactly the kind of effects cortisone has on the body. And let's say there was a new disease out that would hurt someone if they had a compromised immune system. What would they want if they wanted to kind of kill off a big portion of the population? They would want them as stressed as possible. Or if they wanted this disease to look as bad as humanly possible, they would get everyone as stressed as humanly possible, like locking them in the cage and making them wear a face mask so they can't see facial expression. That, I mean, it seems completely wild, but it really doesn't.
It's not my argument I read, but I think it's worth repeating, is that we are essentially in World War III right now.
Oh my God, okay, it's happening.
But it's not, at least thankfully not yet, to the best of my knowledge, it's not a kinetic war, bullets, etc., shooting each other. But it's a war of the mind.
I can help you control it.
Leave me alone.
It's a war of perception. As much as people like to get on like these arguments on Twitter and social media, like this is a battlefront. Another thing I'll add too to that is that the other thing with the weakened immune system is that if you wanted humanity to be host to a bunch of parasites, you could also that would also be very conducive to that end. But
So,
separate
yeah,
video.
so let's go back to the book. And now we're rewinding the book to quite a few pages beforehand, and they did some other studies. The first study, they had two different participants. One, they would have them play a variety of chords on a piano every single day for 15 minutes. The other group of people would just imagine themselves playing the piano. They would do those exact same chords, and they scanned their brain before and after. What was shocking was after both parties had the exact same effect of their brain scans to the piano, and they understood it and could play those exact same chords to the exact same degree, where one party never even looked at a piano. That's a pretty cool study, but I'm sure a lot of us can kind of that's all right. Yeah, that makes sense. If I think about playing a few chords, I'm sure I could do it. But what comes next is absolutely insane. So then they take the study to the next level. They have three groups of people this time. One group is just going to they're based upon doing all the metrics for body weight, height. They're going to be doing a certain amount of sets of curls in reps with a decided weight based upon your weight and etc. Then you're going to have the next party, which is going to be doing curls in their head externally. So basically, I would be watching myself do curls right here. You're doing that in third person point of view. The third group, they are going to imagine themselves doing curls first person point of view. So they're actually trying to feel the muscle in their head doing that. And the results were extremely shocking. So they had the first group that obviously their biceps got physically bigger and they got physically stronger. Just imagine you're doing curls every day. That makes sense. The second group saw no effect. The people who were watching themselves do curls in their head. And then the third group, they saw the exact same effect as the first group, where their muscles actually got stronger and bigger. So the doctors were like, all right, these guys must all be working out in their spare time and they must be cheating. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the study, but we're going to put casts on the third group, or now they did it with just two groups. They were going to put casts on these people to make sure that they were not cheating. So outstandingly, you saw the first group, they grew, their muscles grew and they got stronger. The second group, again, inside of a cast where they physically cannot move at all, they saw that their arms got bigger and they got stronger from simply imagining themselves doing bicep curls. What does this say? This means that you can physically grow your muscles without ever touching a weight. All you have to do is get into a deep meditated state of mind. And as we saw earlier, just from getting into that same state of mind, you could literally make your body more healthy by producing more IgA cells, which is going to which also reduces your stress levels, making you overall healthier to any disease. And this is strictly without doing anything in the physical world. It's just from within. So when I'm reading this, the brain is capable of things that I couldn't even fathom, because we spend so much time just looking at our TV screen. We never really reflect within ourselves.
Oh yeah, it's like blinders on a horse, those screens. Yeah, fascinating, Josh.
Yeah, the book goes so much deeper. And I mean, these are subjects who are not extreme meditators. The guy who wrote the book and some of his very high level people who have been doing it with him for a very long time, he uses examples that they can do some of the craziest I have ever heard of with their mind, that it almost seems unbelievable. But that's just because I've done a little bit of meditating here and there. One time I got the most euphoric feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. It was a very thrilling experience, to say the least. But I'm definitely trying to get back there now to really see what the mind is capable of. Because if you can grow your muscles without even going to the gym, what else is possible with doing nothing and just sitting down and thinking?
Yeah. Wait till you see remote viewing. Another video. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So thinking about this, how bad of a negative impact is technology going to have on this? Because what do you do? I mean, I'm very, very susceptible to you superset TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and then Netflix. Like you're working out, but all you're doing is just completely rotting your brain. And afterwards, I'm sure that you have zero thoughts going through your head, and you would not be able to meditate if you were forced to for $1 million, just because it's not physically possible, because you've spent so much time rotting it. So I mean, like what is going to happen to the generations like myself and everyone else who is just trapped in the online world and never gets to experience and use the effects that the power that the mind really has?
Oh, I've got an idea, Josh. I just think people just need to take a break. Like if you had, I don't know what, 10 days of darkness, maybe, with, no TV screens or whatever. That would be an interesting setup.
Does this seem completely like nonsense? Absolutely, but that's what it is. I would check out the book for yourself, as it is a real page turner. Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Have a good one.